Awesome. So this is the CITD UX for June 16th, 16, right? So you're joining. Daniel. Yeah, just gonna go ahead and go over the FYI announcement. So you know, I'll be out of office starting tomorrow. Finally, a holiday. Ever since the pandemic started, I'll be back on the 28th. So officially into the 25th. That's some coverage that asks for everyone that is here. So if you have any questions, if you need any clarity before I log off end of the day today, let me know. And the second heads up is about Friends and Family Day. We have one coming up next week, next Friday. So add that to your agenda. And yet another short week, Nadia. So, but we can do it.
I'm actually excited about it now. I forgot about it and saw it today in the calendar, and it was a nice surprise.
Awesome. Yeah, Nadia, do you want to voice your point? Otherwise, we can jump to general items.
Yeah, so after learning that apparently I'm not taking enough vacation time, I decided to go on vacation. So I scheduled some PTO time from June 20th till June 2nd, which means that basically my last day will be next week, Thursday, because of the Family and Friends Day. So just keep an eye out for a UX coverage issue. I don't think there will be much proactive work to handle. I might ask you to help out with like 1 or 2 user interviews potentially, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm doing my best to work with Dove to kind of reprioritize things and move things around to accommodate for the time off, because there's plenty of things engineers can work on. So there's actually no rush for me to work on things, which is great. So yeah, just a heads up.
Awesome. And my first point here is about UX Showcase. So it's that time of the quarter again. So our next UX Showcase is on the 28th of June. That's the Monday I return from my PTO. And I think last time we have to choose 2 slides. And last time Ian and Daniel added their slides. So I want to suggest that, oh, sorry, I'm looking at UX Showcase. That's not the truth. Group conversation that was in April. We only need 2 slides, and last time we had package and pipeline altering. So I want to suggest, well, it's up to you really, but release and CI or pipeline execution now to have their slides presented. But feel free to discuss the issue. The only thing is that I'm not going to be here, so you have to align that the content and review with Valerie. So after you work on your draft on the deck, ping Valerie by the 23rd, so she can review. Everything needs to be done by the 24th of June. Any questions, any comments, any volunteers to add slides this time?
Just a note, release did had a slide last time, but I can add one again, no problem.
Yeah, and I can add one too. Like we have worked on many CI minutes and user-related issues, which are very beneficial for users.
Right.
I'm fine not adding anything if we only have 2 slides.
Okay, so this time would be release and pipeline execution. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and then just add the notes on the slides, and you can work from there. So thanks for volunteering. Awesome. And my second heads up is actually about deployments direction updates. I think Kenny messaged this yesterday in Slack that he uploaded a video to the direction page, which is awesome. I wish we all had videos explaining the direction of our categories. So watch a video to get to know a bit better, more context about the direction for deployments. I still have to do that as well, but any questions? And I think that's relevant to all of us really, since it overlaps with, yeah, not only release, but configure anyways, CI. So have a watch later on. Yeah, and next stage group work. I think then you're the first one.
Yeah, just quick sharing the issues I'm working on. The first is a new icon for environments. maybe it's worth sharing my screen to quickly go over this because it was a very interesting process. There's a share screen. All right. Yeah. So this was interesting because essentially, if we go to the new navigation on GitLab on a project, ideally, yeah, we now have the deployments top level navigation. But if you remember, this used to be the environments icon. And if you look here, it's still the environments icon. When we were discussing the new top level header for deployments, we decided deployments would inherit this icon. So we need a new one for environments to avoid the duplication. I try to channel my inner Vitica and Nadia. I just get my iPad and sketch some stuff. But after 2 minutes, I decided I was very silly doing that. So I just went to Figma and iterated on top of the existing icon, and did a few rounds of exploration and feedback with Michael and Amelia and Jeremy as well. It was really nice. The first one I got to was this, which visually is interesting and it's still somewhat related to the deployments icon. But we came to the realization that it was too bold compared to most of the other icons that are filled. So we had a second round where I explored some other shapes with an outline instead of the fill. And these worked to a certain extent. But if we see, I also made prototypes in context. So if you look here, let me reduce this. You see, we start to lose a lot of definition and it's a bit hard to read depending on the elements we have in there. So I went to a third round, just, let's lose the leaf shape, which was nice, but not necessarily required, and just work on these concepts. And the final ones we got to through a lot of discussion were these two. I think the leaf looks really nice. I really like it aesthetically, and it still has some connection to the deployments icon. So if they're next to each other, maybe you can infer that this means environments, but on its own, it doesn't really tell a good story of what it is, right? And one of the concepts behind environments is that they are containers for code that have a key value nature. So yeah, I decided to go with this, open an issue on GitLab SVGs, and we'll do all the technical stuff that's required to actually turn this into an icon. But it took a little bit longer than I expected. Like, yeah, just an icon, right? But it was a really nice process that I'm not very used to. I'm not such a strong visual designer and definitely not an icon designer. So it was a really nice change of pace for me.
Nice.
This is really cool. Thanks for sharing. I'm a bit jealous.
You're welcome.
I never get to work on icons.
Well,
it looks
yeah,
great.
If I need another one, I'll let you know, and I'll assign to you.
Thanks. Or just ping me so I can participate in the review.
Yeah, for sure. It went kind of rapidly. Like I did one round, and then they asked for feedback, and I immediately worked on it again. So it didn't even involve you folks. I should have. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But
no worries at all.
it was
Just
a
for the
great
future.
process. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And yeah, the other point is that I'm doing my first code contribution to the GitLab code base. I'm a big nerd for doing some front end, so I'm really happy to finally be doing that. And it was funny because it took me a while to do it. It's a really small issue, like changing margins, literally. And then Marcel pinged me, hey, do you want some help to set up Gitpod and all of that? So we had a quick chat, and now I want to do like 5 merge requests in one day. So yay. That's it for me.
That's awesome. Daniel, can you just briefly talk about your experience setting up Gitpod? I know that we talked during your one-on-ones and async how to do it. Was it as easy as you expected? Because I'm in the process of also setting up, because I have some of these issues in testing a runner that are margin, very small CSS changes, but the configuration part of the environment, the local environment, is a bit of a pain. So how was that for you?
So it was yes and no. It was hard and easy at the same time. Gitpod is really nice in the way that it's very reliable to generate a new GitLab instance. So that's really nice. Like it works. You know, you may have to wait 5 minutes for the machine to be spun up, but it does work. But then the problem starts. Okay, I want to test this specific use case for merge trains, right? Like it doesn't show up on my screen. Like maybe you create a project and then you set up a quick pipeline. That's what I did, and set up review apps. And I needed to show a bunch of buttons on the merge request widget, and I managed to show a few of them, but not all of the ones that I needed to test. So what I did was I went into the Vue.js files and figure out like what variables were showing up the buttons, and I like mocked up, like I changed the code to show every single button that I wanted, like brute force. It made the Git history kind of wonky because I had to add some comments and remove them and add them to keep testing. So it's not the ideal way to test, but it was the way that I found to do it by myself quick enough. So that ideally, like what I would like is to just be able to create a Gitpod instance with like some kind of like templates, like create this instance with these projects set up this way, right? And then to make that easier, but I don't know if that's possible.
Thanks for sharing. I think I might face some of the similar challenges, so I'm going to loop you in, but only after I come back from the PTO.
Awesome. Yeah, please.
Thanks for sharing.
The next couple items. So first, I've been reading through the product process handbook page, and Jackie shared it with me. I don't remember in what context anymore, but I just kind of got stuck reading through it and learned a bunch of new things actually, because I kind of realized that I haven't really been like involved in that process that closely and wasn't even aware of some of the activities that seem quite important. So one is, for example, collaboration with marketing. And I personally haven't really been in touch with the marketing team much. And I'm not sure if any of you collaborate with marketing or like get on a call with your product manager and someone from marketing, and do you leverage marketing in your work, like discovery work, whether it's more product related or UX? Because I think it can be very beneficial, and I haven't really seen us do much of that, but I wonder maybe other teams do.
I think that the only experience I had working with marketing was in the release management team. Jackie and I work with them to facilitate like the release management vision. So that 3 years mocks, that we built together. And part of that conversation with marketing was that, okay, how do we use these assets and the vision that we're building in terms of deliverables and visuals to facilitate their conversation with potential customers, right? On a day-to-day basis, not recently, not with Testing Runner, because I'm not involved as much, but when we're working on the 3-year vision, it was something active that, yeah, we got feedback from them, but mostly to understand how we want to shape those assets, the mock, the videos, and how we want to add them, for example, to the direction page, because it's a marketing page, right, in a way, for the release management categories. So that was my experience. So maybe someone else has some insights to share.
So for example, I was checking on our group page, which is in the handbook, to see if we have listed any stable counterparts from the marketing side, but I see that we don't. I think we used to long back. I don't know if anyone else observed that, because I remember like looping the marketing person in one of the conversations like about 6 months back or so. I don't exactly remember the context. Maybe it was regarding the Jenkins importer, Nadia. So I know that we get in touch with SAs and TAMs very often. And there's also a meeting, a regular meeting that pipeline execution authoring, I think the whole verified team has with TAMs and SAs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see like any stable counterpart that's assigned to the group. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised because if you read through that section in the handbook, it says product marketers and managers should be joined at the hip, just as a feature, whatever, you can skim through it. And like it says that product managers are supposed to proactively reach out for input when contemplating new features and involve product marketing as early as possible with work on important changes. And since UX and product work so closely together on new feature design, I would expect to like be in touch with product marketing if it's part of our process, but it seems like it's documented, but it's not really happening. And I actually, so we do stay in touch with TAMs, that's true. Maybe that's kind of the counterparts that they mean here in the handbook. Maybe it's just not specified, but probably would be worth just reaching out to JK and asking her.
That's a very good topic. It probably is happening, but we are not in the loop, right? It's just like some of other things that, that happen in the product world. That's we might see the results of these conversations in terms of deliverables or priorities for design, but not necessarily we're part of the conversation. And I link here our handbook page, the CI/CD UX handbook page, that links to our strategic counterparts, and for product marketing, for I forgot the name that I just read, but anyways, other folks. So maybe, just checking with your PMs how they're collaborating today. Yeah, go ahead, Dimitka.
I see the name of Chrissy in the handbook page in the verify section. Sorry, where are we in the agenda? I want to paste this link. Yeah. So I did collaborate with Chrissy on one of the blog posts sometime back, which was around pre-filled variables. So I remember doing that, but otherwise I've never had an interaction apart from that. We do, however, keep in touch with the customer success DRIs. For example, Jamie and Vladimir for pipeline authoring as well as execution.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will reach out to Dov and ask him and see if he's been in touch with marketing, because I think it could be interesting to reach out to them and see like what are they up to. Is there a way for us to collaborate to create some value together?
I pasted a very different link, sorry.
Yeah, so and very quickly, just the other item that I wanted to share is that I've conducted a competitor evaluation for pipeline authoring, kind of following the new process for competitor evaluations, though it's been a bit tricky given the experience that I'm testing is all just like documentation based, and there wasn't really much to evaluate in the UI in terms of the heuristics that we have that we're supposed to use. But I did my best. So if you link through to the issue, you'll see that there is a brief insight summary where I summarized the user experience for setting up a custom library of CI templates or actions using GitHub Actions and using Circle CI. So in Circle CI, they're called orbs, these kind of reusable pipeline components or jobs. So you can check it out. They kind of follow a similar process, but they have their own differences. And yeah, it was good inspiration and just food for thought as we're doing problem validation around CI template experience at GitLab.
That's nice.
It's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Nadia. I'm not sure if I wasn't in the UX Weekly yesterday. I'm not sure if you already shared this. I saw you shared in Slack, but make sure you broadcast this, because there's a conversation going about like how other designers are conducting competitor evaluation. And it's always good to have that reference, even though this is not part of the main UX KR. So thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, thanks for a reminder. I'll add it to the next UX Weekly.
Okay, so I'll move to my points. All right. So I just wanted to, mention once again that we have completed the evaluation for the UX scorecard exercise for variables. And if you go to this Epic that's linked, there are many, like all the links are in the findings section. There's the heuristic evaluation page, which has the final heuristic score and how we arrived at it. Then there are two videos that I have put, linked to two videos. One is for a shorter, like a shorter overview of the whole process, and one is a longer one where I have actually performed each task that we asked the users to perform. So just like very minutely touching upon every step that they followed. Whereas the shorter one, it only has, it only talks about the problems and not necessarily shows them right there on the screen, like them happening. And one strange thing that I found in the findings from this exercise was I was not expecting that most of the insights which we would like get from this research would be tightly, they're very tightly associated with the pipeline authoring jobs to be done. And now it kind of becomes very clear to me why this set of features is being transferred to pipeline authoring team, because it totally makes sense. Because most workflows which are related to or associated with variables in GitLab CI, they're really very finely ingrained with the pipeline authoring workflow. Like it's a part of when you write the YAML definition for GitLab CI configurations. So most of the insights, they could be variable agnostic as well. Like if you just take out the word variable from there, they kind of fit in other situations as well. But we try to look at like, what is it that users are trying to do with variables specifically? And for recommendations, what Jackie had suggested to me was that I should look at framing the recommendations from the deficit point of view. Because if you just try to translate the insights into recommendations, they might not work very well. So that's an approach that I'll be taking for recommendations. But this is pretty interesting.
What do you mean deficit point of view? You mean like we don't have this or this doesn't work? That from that
when it comes
perspective?
to variables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Makes sense.
Then moving to the next point, there's a blog that I'm writing on how we can become more productive with CI, GitLab CI. And the reason that we are doing this now is because in this particular milestone, we are focusing on many issues which are around CI minutes usage. So because we're making certain changes, we thought it's also necessary to make users aware, like what are the different ways, how can they use different strategies which are already in place to become more productive with CI minutes, with their CI configurations. Earlier, my earlier idea, like why I started writing this, was I thought maybe there are strategies that we have that could help save users the CI minutes. But after doing my research, after speaking to the backend engineers, I figured that that doesn't exactly happen that way. For example, they can definitely crunch the time of the execution of the pipeline, but what happens is like jobs happen to run in parallel in those situations, and every minute is still accounted for. So it's not like we are making those minutes smaller. We are just trying to divide them into different steps so that things are accomplished quickly. So here's the MR, and Hannah, so thank you so much for the very long review that you left. It was very helpful. It does make it look so much better now. And now I pass this to Sarah for final editing, because the decided date for this to be published was 21st June. And it was interesting. Nadia also pointed out this, like how is the new experience of writing a blog? So some things are very different. For example, the deadlines. Yeah, I mean, we can't do it at our own pace. We have to adhere to what we have committed to and what aligns with the marketing's agenda and so on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just had one question. Like, did you have to pitch your idea to them and to justify that we need to publish this? And what was the process like? And how do they evaluate your blog post? Like, who decides yay or nay?
Sure, I will put the link for the issue where I pitched the blog. So what I had to do was I had to write the pitch first. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here. So in this issue, you'll see that there's a template that allows you to check certain boxes like what all criteria does this pitch fulfill? Like, does it help in connecting with potential customers? Does it drive traffic to the website? Does it convert traffic into leads? And based on those criteria, the decision is made. And then the roles and responsibilities section, it was again filled by Sarah, who was responsible for, okay, I'm not able to find that, but she was the one to actually assign a date to this and then tell me like, when should I send her the first draft to be edited, reviewed. So that's mostly captured in this issue. And then I associated that merge request with this issue.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing. I guess it kind of makes sense. All in all, probably will help us create higher quality content and time it better, maybe. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
And my question was going to be the same, like about the process of contributing to it.
Okay.
And also give a heads up. So I looked in the marketing folks in Slack about what needs to be done for us to create a UX category in the blog. So they replied, yeah, there's something technical needs to happen anyways. So that should happen sometime soon. But we need well, either someone here that wants to go into the handbook code and update that, or someone in the marketing team, someone technical, to make that update for us. So it's in my backlog, but hopefully I haven't written anything for the blog now that Unfiltered doesn't exist anymore. That process is deprecated, but I imagine that it would be a bit easier for us to contribute if we have the UX category. But thanks for sharing, Vitika, the experience. And I just saw that I made incorrect suggestions to the headings, so expect comment from me because I'm fixing some things in the merge request.
Okay.
The sizing is wrong. Yeah, but that's my bad.
So I also did like most of the things manually because there were a lot of conflicts, because it happened so that you and we were editing at the same time.
Oh.
And yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Vitika.
So,
hi Anna, can you share this link as well to the agenda with the change that needs to happen? Maybe I can take a look at it and make it work.
Yeah. So UX blog category, right? So I'm not sure exactly what needs to happen. So where was Vitika? So UX blog category. This is my initial merge request, and it really just adds a mention in the handbook about a UX category. But let me link you to the thread in the marketing channel. Let's see. They briefly explain what needs to be done and who needs to be looped in. Actually, I think that's most important. Who is the DRI in marketing? You can loop in that person. Look that person. There you go.
That's nice.
Here is the thread.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, moving to the last point that I have. So I just wanted to make a note that pipeline execution team is focusing on CI minutes for this milestone, and the focus for the upcoming milestone is going to be working on our availability. That means working on a bunch of infra dev issues. That's just an update and nothing else.
So I'll jump to some good news. Not that we're not discussing good news, but we're gonna have a designer joining our teams. Yay. So Gina, she's going to join GitLab July 12th. She's actually Vitika's referral, so someone that comes highly recommended. And she's going to start in July, still some time to come. And I'm very excited. This is it's such a great time for our team to grow, and also for me to be able to offboard testing a runner. And yeah, we're going to have some onboarding process, but also onboarding buddy activities going on. So if any of you wants to be that buddy or wants to volunteer for other tasks as well, there's still time, but feel free to reach out to me and then we can coordinate that. And what I can tell you, that this person is also coming from Red Hat, like Vitika, and they have experience working with design systems, which is super exciting because it's one of my plans. One part of plan for testing runners to get someone that understands a bit more how to contribute with design systems to help the PMs also to introduce that as part of the regular release process for them to help with usability issues. And yeah, very happy. As you know, has been a very long almost 3 months interview hiring process. So July, new team member. And on the same note, the package position is open. It's not available yet on the hiring, not the job board, because I still need to do the kickoff, but it was approved. So we're going to be backfilling the package position. So as always, referrals are much appreciated. So I'll work on the criteria for that position when I'm back from my PTO. But if you have someone in mind, already keep that person in the loop, and you know how it works with the referral processes. Any questions, comments?
I'm just excited to work with her again.
Okay, that's good news. Awesome. And then my last point here is about I created this tracking issue. It's been in my backlog, my mental backlog for a while. I'm kind of trying to find a way to track the research efforts for CI/CD. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the best way, but I want your feedback, and I want to know, what do you think is the best way to keep track of that? Because I know that, of course, now we have a reduced UX researcher support, but at the same time, as our team grows and as we onboard new people, etc., I need to have a better visualization of what's being planned or what's coming next. And I know that for problem validation, things live in a place. Solution validation, things live here and there. But anyways, I need to track those efforts. So I created this epic, which is an umbrella epic, and right now it's pretty much empty. I think only Vitika. I'm not sure if Nadia has one, but another Vitika had that research initiatives for Verify. And let's see if we have some time to give feedback if this is you think it's a useful way to track this, or if it's overwork to have everything in separate epics, or how would you prefer to, would you like to keep me informed of your research, your research, upcoming research?
Yeah. So one thing that comes to my mind is that in pipeline execution, Jackie and we already use an epic. So we assign whatever is the work in progress to that epic. So while I'm working on that, I would definitely not be able to add to this. That's why I'm thinking, like, how else can this be done? Like, could there be a table as well where I can just put items, and when it's done, maybe I can move it to this epic altogether?
I think a table would also work so that we don't have to stay locked because an epic moves to a different epic, like what you did for that that research tracking issue. But the only thing is that, we're gonna have to keep it up to date, or at least try in the beginning to see how it works. Because if we have, let's say, just a quarterly plan for research efforts, I don't think we are gonna update this every day. But it can be a table, it can be attached to the epic, doesn't matter, as long as we have that tracked somewhere.
Yeah, for me also, Epic wouldn't work because the way we organize all issues is by feature or like product category. So if we have a big feature epic, I like to keep a solution validation issue linked to that epic. So it's accessible to the product manager, to the engineers. It's much easier for them to find that way, because then we basically have issues for like iteration implementation, any design issues, and solution validation all right there. So you can kind of get an overview of what work we're doing and how are we iterating and how are we learning in regards to this particular feature. But the table works fine, so I'm fine with the table.
Okay, awesome.
And are we supposed to add all the social validation that we have done in the past as well here, just for centralizing purposes, or is just for new things for this quarter?
So I was only thinking about the new things, so this quarter and upcoming ones, and then yeah, maybe we can have a place where say current or upcoming research and past research in the at the bottom. But ideally, just for the sake of what needs to be tracked right now, the new stuff. I do myth in general. Also, when I was actively working on validation, I did miss having one place where I could. Of course, we have dovetail and we have all these insights,
Yeah.
but as an IC, I need to go and search for it. And now as a manager, I'm also like, okay, where's the source of truth for that for our team? So it could be an issue, it could be an epic, but it could also be the handbook, right? I saw that for package, they have a small section in the package page where they say, this is the research that we have planned. Whatever I decide to place the thing, I think it just needs to be easy to update it, and also easy for not just us and of course myself to find it out, to discover it, but also our team members and the customers. But well, I'm not sure if you can hear this. Someone is working on the back here. But thanks for the feedback. I'm gonna look into this and try to simplify a little bit so it's not such a difficult process for us. If nothing else we discussed, let's go to the fun, the fun topics. I think Nadia, you have something fun to share.
Sorry, I'm a bit, I'm freaking out a little bit because there's a huge spider right next to me and it keeps moving closer and closer to me, just like incrementally. Now it's yeah, it's becoming a bit weird. But yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna like scooch over to the corner. Yeah, just wanted to remind you that we have a UX book club currently ongoing, and this time it's in collaboration with the growth team. And we're all reading this book called Better Onboarding to understand how to create better onboarding. So I think it's going to be a really fun discussion because the growth team is participating, so they have lots of ideas and insights to share, I'm sure. So feel free to join. I think the discussion is in like 2 weeks or something like that, so there's still time to read, and the book is pretty small.
I was a little freaked out. I didn't check the timeline, but that I can definitely accommodate.
Yeah, double check in the channel. If you go to that channel, there's a date there for the discussion, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it says July 8th. There is enough time.
Oh, now I see. That's why Jackie posted like an illustration, I think, of the book cover. On the, I'm not sure if you folks saw it in the UX, the fun channel that we have. Someone posted an illustration of the cover of this book, so maybe they're also reading it. Sorry, random
nice.
sidebar thought. I thought something.
So, since we are talking about books, there's another book that I recently finished, which I found it on one of the handbook pages. I don't remember exactly which one, but so far, I think it was the best one that I read on product management. Like, even though I'm not directly, like, I don't associate with those job responsibilities directly, it was really good to understand what's like what goes on in the head of a product manager. It's called The Build Trap. And I think Jackie and I would have a coffee chat around it because she is also a fan of that book. So That's one. And next in line that I've picked up is unlocking customer value chain, because this particular quarter, I'm trying to read more about product management.
What is the next one, Vitika? I'll just keep note here.
It's written here. It says unlocking customer value. Yeah. It's a thick one.
Thanks.
I'm not so excited about it.
But remember, especially the things that we see in the handbook, you can expense those, right? And so, yeah, I know that you love reading. Make sure that you taking advantage of that that benefit. Keep reading.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, we are almost at time. Anything else you'd like to share, discuss, or we can regain 3 minutes of our day. All right. And I see you all later. Thanks for joining.
Bye, folks.
Thanks
Have a
a lot.
nice day.
Bye.